Welcome to the Motivational Tap In podcast with our host, Darcy, as he breaks down the social issues that may be delaying you from getting to where you need to be. Tap in with Darcy as he provides you with the life tools to help you to be proactive instead of reactive to the challenges of life.
Yo, what's good? You are now tuned in with the Motivational Tap In podcast. Today we're back with another episode. So today's topic is, what is the long-term impact of rap music on our youth? And the reason why I ask this question is the whole point of my podcast is to help us to think long-term instead of just short-term, right? Because we know that your future is only dictated by what you do in your present. So you have to be prudent in your decision-making and moving with care in what you do in your life. So before you make changes or make decisions in your life, you should always ask, what is the long-term implication of this change, right? And so when we start normalizing certain things in society, right, we also have to ask ourselves, what is the long-term impact of this, right? Does it affect a certain demographic? Does it affect our youth as a whole? Does it affect our mind in a way that's not conducive toward helping us to be better in life, right? We have to ask these questions. And when we don't get good answers to these questions, we have to start canceling things that are not healthy for us. And so this topic is one that's very crucial, not only for young black men, but for our youth as a whole and for our community as a whole. So let's tap into it. So today we got some special guests hopping in on this episode to help me out. And I'm only as good as the people who stand next to me in this fight to help influence our youth and to help them get on the right track in their life. So shout out to these brothers here. So brothers, y'all can speak up, introduce yourselves. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourselves.
Yo, well, I guess I kick it off. I'm Jovan. I'm 26. I'm from Chicago. I'm a father. I have a 6-year-old. I'm currently engaged, happily engaged, looking to be married in 2023. And, I'm just here supporting my guy, Darcy. That's my best man. And, I enjoy having these conversations and really trying to get other people's point of view on some of these topics. So I hope we have a fun night.
All right, shout out Jovan. All right, next up.
Sure, man. My name Chef Mar, private chef out here in Atlanta. 28. I have my own podcast, Guilty by Association. We kind of do the same thing, but I'm out here trying to, promote, healthy discourse against our youth and the black community as well. So I'm glad you even thought about me and called me.
Shout out to bro.
Hello, everybody. My name's Kone. I'm here in Cleveland, Ohio, 31 years old, and I'm just blessed to be in this platform with my brothers here. Darcy, obviously you and I have always had many conversations, and I think this is a very important one. So I'm excited to get into the content with y'all.
Hey, shout out to bro. Shout out to Cleveland, Ohio. Let's get it.
And we throw some love in there for Cincinnati as well.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to...
all three of y'all from Cleveland?
Nah, so Jovan is from...
I know you're not, but yeah.
Yeah, Jovan is from Chicago. And then my bro Conan, he's actually from Michigan.
Oh, so that's the Midwest show, okay.
Yes, sir. Well, a little East Coast, I'm from New York, so, yeah. East Coast mixed in with the Midwest, so, but this is powerful right now to see brothers coming from different walks coming together to talk about something that's important for our community, because this is something that we don't really talk about often, right? Nowadays, and I'm just going to say it to kick it off, nowadays, if you want to be a rapper, in our community, more often than not, you got to be talking about killing somebody. And typically, you actually have to have that experience, right? You can't just even rap about that. You got to be battle tested behind you actually killing somebody, right? So a lot of our young black men are coming up and they want to rap. And so they feel like the only pathway for them to be able to do it is to go through the streets, right? And don't get me wrong, you have the exceptions of the J. Coles, the Kendrick Lamars, and Joey Badass, whoever you want to name. But they run few. And even then, when an industry that's so controlled, you might not even get a new contract if you're rapping about positive things for our community. So I want to just kick off the topic saying that, brothers, let me know what y'all think about this topic. What do y'all feel is the long-term impact of rap music on our youth?
I can go ahead and get it started. Darcy, what you said is absolutely right. As far as if there's any sort of positivity about the community, you might not get another contract, right? And I think it's important to state that when we say rap, I mean not all rap is bad, but it's more so how it's being used as a tool. And a lot of times, what's being glorified are the negative parts within the community. Now, granted, a lot of people talk about their upbringing and where they came from, things like that. But I feel like a lot of times we don't really talk about how you truly overcome that, right? We don't really talk about what's that blueprint look like, so that way, instead of being in this cycled mindset of negativity and sorrow and trauma, that is what ultimately affects the youth. That's why we can't really advance. This type of music is in our subconscious minds, and it's on repeat every single day. And because it's on repeat now, the youth, they just feel like that's their reality. And so once again, Darcy, I appreciate this platform, because what you do is you are exposing certain things about the music industry, which people really know, but they don't consciously think about how we're actually programming the youth to stay in that trauma mindset. So, it really comes down to how it's utilized as a tool, to build each other up.
I think the long-term impact is really going to. Like, I hear you, but I think more of looking at this topic, what I think about is the long-term of rap is going to. I think it's coming to an end. I don't think that it's going to continue, because I think people are seeing it. But if it was to continue, I think we've already seen the long-term impact of it. I feel like what we're seeing in today's time of what our youth has done is why our parents, I don't know how y'all parents were, but was like, no, you're not listening to hip hop and rap in my car around me, because I'm not allowing it. And so since we have allowed that to become a norm, now we see people who are trying to make sexuality normal, or pedophilia normal, or whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I think the long-term impact has already been shown.
So you don't feel like it could get any worse, huh? You feel like the long-term impact is now. You don't feel like
only
5,
thing
10
that
years
gets
from
worse
now because I mean, this is my thing, right? Rap music has always been something that you can say has had a negative influence on society, right? But there were different levels of rap. There was your Biggies, your Tupacs, your Jay-Z's, your lyricists, guys who could just really just rap and flow, and they didn't have to rap about killing somebody in order to do it. Now in society, it's normalized now for you to be a killer in a studio rapping about you catching bodies, and you get applauded for that. Since when did we glorify somebody who's out here killing people?
Since '90s.
Yeah, matter of fact, you absolutely right. Right, there's been certain icons across different communities who've caused detriment, but for whatever reason they're popular. Maybe because of them being a drug cartel, or them being good with women, or whatever the case may be. But either way, to me, it's way too extreme now. Right, you got your average regular hood rapper from any community. He's trending and going up because he's still out here catching bodies. The more bodies you got, the more credibility you have to go in the studio and rap about it, and that's what catches your eyes. I mean, to me, it was insane how Back in Blood took off. It's sick what you rapping about when you really think about it, but it's like, oh, okay, everybody likes it. The song is hard, so it's cool. But we don't think about the encouragement that comes out of that, right? Bitch, I got my own fire, don't need security in the club. I thought you was a thug, or I shot up everywhere they was. Yeah, you know who took that shit from you, come get it back in blood. Like, this is what our young men are rapping about. And this is what we feed off of. This is what we lit to in the club. It's crazy. And
Well,
until we start talking about it, it's the only way we're gonna break the generational trend and deadly chain that we've created with our music.
well, they started it back when they canceled Will Smith, and then when you think forward to Ice Cube, who at that time, he was a part of a certain group, and then he left, and he literally shifted his whole lifestyle to better the community, and he got shunned for it. And his recent shun even came last year, and he was telling people, "Hey, we can't give our vote up for nothing." So I feel like this is what our black people are asking for. It has nothing to do with the system. It's nothing. It's like, hey, y'all black people are saying that they think in their mind that this is the only way for money. Sports or hip hop or entertainment. That's it. They like, this is the only way to money. So we have to do anything at all costs, no matter your values or your morals. Even people that have gone to, like, even people with good parents are choosing this stuff because they don't want to be decent people and go out here and get a job or a degree or put in work for 3-4 months to get a certification to go out here and make money. They want to, I'm gonna go out here and degrade women, but say I'm a womanist or I'm pro woman, but you go out here and tell people to pop their pussy open. Since when was that? Like, it's all about the money. And people like to use the Bible verse, "Oh, the money is the root to all evil." It's really not. It's the love for money. What you would do for the fucking money is what's the evil. Yeah, but I'm not religious, but I just wanted to always point that out to the religious people that say that.
Jovan, what you
That's
got to
why I
say,
say
bro?
they doing it for money, bro. I don't think we can ever change it because it's millions of dollars in it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I agree with you, Payne, because I mean that's but that's the enticing part, right? You, you have youth in the community who some of these dollars that are being thrown at them they've never seen before, right? And so when we're talking about programming, they're seeing, okay, dudes are making it out by rapping about this, rapping about that. They got the cars, they got the girls, they got the jewelry at the parties, and so for them, it's enticing, right? And that's why it's a cycle that's going to be tough to break because it's, you know, there's something about having the money, flexing. I mean, we see it all the time, right? And
Absolutely.
so, and when you're talking about even from a long term perspective, and I think you had mentioned that, you know, hey, I think people are starting to get hip to what's going on and all things and all that. And Darcy, you had asked like, okay, so you think it could get worse? I personally think it could. And the reason why I say that is, look at someone like what's his name, like a Lil Nas X,
Huh.
right?
Man.
That's like that's really like the next phase.
Don't do this.
You know, I'm sorry, I got to do it. I got to do it. That's really the next phase, and you're starting to see. Okay, Lil Nas X is a little bit everywhere. He's you know, they got him in these award shows. Like they're really putting him out front and center, and it's gonna come to a point where, yeah, a lot of dudes are gonna be turned off by it, but like, no, this is corny, this is ridiculous. But watch what will happen over time. The programming always works. There's a method to the madness when it comes to how our subconscious works, and you're gonna start to see guys in our community turning into that because for them it's going to be acceptable. It's going to be okay. So there is a whole nother level that this can get to, right? And that's the scary part. That's why, you know, the four of us here having this conversation is important because, you know, God willing, when we're blessed with kids and everything like that, it's going to be up to us, right, to instill those values to truly show them like, hey, no, this ain't it. This really ain't it because if not us, if we don't speak up, if we don't do the right teachings and things like that, we're part of the problem. You know,
I
so
now, David, I'm when you brought up the Lil Nas X, I kind of talked to my other bro right here on the side of me not that long ago, kind of about the same thing. If you let your kids listen to certain things, you did that to them as a parent for one. But for two, on top of that, I don't think that, and this is my personal opinion, that if a gay rapper comes out and they rapping about dick, that's not gonna make more boys gay.
they was gay to begin with, or they wanted to be gay anyway. And now they feel comfortable to say what's on their heart. And that's good for those little boys. Because if that's truly how they feel, either they can express themselves in a peaceful way, you just into that sort of shit and you live your life and that's a small part of your life. Or you can have some conflict about yourself and be fighting that demon all your life, and that's what makes you a destructive person because you don't truly feel comfortable to be who you really are to begin with. And that is the issue. People spend too much time trying to say that this is what should be going on in the world and should be displayed to my kid. However, you can't change that shit. All you can do is tell your kid, this is what this is. This is what this means. This is what I believe. And this is what other people believe. Pick whatever you gonna pick because ultimately you can try to fight with your kid and tell them, hey, believe in Jesus. But if they grow up and they say that they want to be Muslim, that's fine with them. That's their life. As a parent, you're just here to guide them and to be there for them and accept them. All that other extra shit ain't up to us. That's me.
Yeah, you got a point. I'm with you on that. You know, yeah, I think it's more so the scary part is when you understand the forces that can truly influence. And granted, look, as a precursor, I'm not a father. I don't have any kids right now, so you know, I have a different perspective on it. I'm sure once I have kids and go through that experience, it'll be a little bit different. But you know, for me, it's tough to just sit back and say, okay, this is what it is what it's not, blah 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 blah, and then hope that they'll figure it out. I grew up with African parents, and it was literally like, no, this is what it is, and there's no changing it, there's no questioning it. Like, I mean, the household was ruled with an iron fist. But growing up, I didn't understand a lot of that. Like, hey, how come I can't listen to rap like my friends? How come I can't watch certain things on TV? Now that I'm older, I have a different level of appreciation for what my parents did in ruling with the iron fist because I'm like, they were actually protecting me from a lot of this stuff. And the case in point, I got a younger brother who, Darcy, we talked about him, but like he didn't get that iron fist ruling, right? He's a baby of the family. They kind of essentially kind of let him go. And this dude is down a whole different pathway. And a lot of it had to do with the stuff that he was listening to and the people that he was hanging around. So, it's just, and mind you, like I said, this is a perspective of a single guy with no kids. But I feel like there's got to be something else that we could do in order to really reel things back in rather than say, hey, it is what it is.
Nah, and I get where you coming from as well too. And I don't mean to be rude, Pain. I'll let you talk, Pain. I'll let you get the mic.
No, 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 no. Look, I'm with David. Like, it's not. It is what it is. I'm with you on that because we have to. Do anybody in here like? Do we understand how the left and the right side of the brain works?
Go ahead and
Well,
break it down.
the right side of the brain is like the external things, what you can see, hear, taste, touch. That's why if any like something slimy touch you, you automatically think it's a snake or a slug or something like ew. You automatically do that because your right side of the brain is letting you know that. The left side of your brain is the brain that is the internal, which is, and then you can look it up. Scientists have proven it. Everybody is plugged this way. It doesn't matter your gender or sexuality. The left side is internal. It remembers everything. That's why I said again, when something touches you, even though you're not looking at it, if it's slimy, it could be a child's wet hand, but just the fact that you thought it was slimy, you thought it was something nasty, and you jumped. That's what your left side of your brain do. It's the internal. It remembers everything that you have processed, and that's how you remember shit. That's where PTSD comes from. That's the whole correlation. That's the power of the subconscious of what we're talking about. The reason why people operate how they do. So when we talk about music and people and kids' demeanors and all of that stuff, that's why it is important for us to then dive in like, no, I need to talk to this child. I need to help this child because I'm shaping this child mentally and we're playing with the mindset. You're playing with it if you don't say something. I just came out of a room where they argued with me about a boy playing with a toy. a girl toy or dressing in heels. And I said, no, I'm not going to let him do it. And they said, that's homophobic. And I said, no, it's not. That's me teaching my child right from wrong. Homophobic would be if my child came to me and told me he was gay and I decided to then shun him for it.
You said you already got kids or you don't have kids?
I have a 5-year-old son.
Oh, okay. Now, you raise your kid that way, and I get it and I respect it. That's not to say that my kid plays with little dolls and dresses and shit.
Oh, I don't let that crap happen.
Yeah, my kid plays with skates. He goes outside. We play football. We play baseball. But my fiance also has 3 little sisters, even closer to his age. So if he picked up a little doll while he's playing with her sister, that'll make him gay. Do you know that this is a girl doll? Yes. Does it look like a girl? Yes. Okay. Cool. My son at that point still is in a room full of women and knows that they're girls, so they have girl toys. I grew up, I had sisters. I have 4 sisters. I have 2 brothers. And I'm the youngest out of everybody. I grew up in the hood. I grew up and I saw all my siblings go different ways. Some have kids and still living on Section 8. I have a brother that's a crackhead, used to be a drug dealer. He was raised a certain kind of way too. I have an autistic brother. He was raised and had to deal with getting picked on in school, and I had to fight because of it. It's all of these cycles of things that went on in my life that music didn't have shit to do with. If anything, that music made me feel like I could connect with something. Because when I was having a bad day, and somebody was talking about beating somebody's ass, that's what I wanted to hear. And that's what helped me not be somebody's ass. For some people, that's what that's gonna do for them. Because that's what the art is for you to experience it and for you to feel it. Now, does that need to be monitored? Of course it does, but that comes with the parent's ability to structure that kid's life for a certain type of way and still explain things to them. If you just shove your child out into the world without telling them what homosexuality is, without telling them what drugs and gangs and all of this shit is, you fuck them over from the beginning. And your kid is gonna be one of the ones that flap their wings a little bit when they leave the nest and fall on their ass. Cause we all gotta be there. Give your kid a chance.
I'm sorry, that sounds like some BS. Like no disrespect. I'm confused. How can we say that?
What do you mean? How can I say what?
Like I heard you. I kind of tuned you out once you started talking about that. 'Cause I'm like, hold up, this man got to be trolling me right now.
Oh, I ain't trolling you. I'm 100% real, bro.
So you don't think that music plays a factor into what people listen to? The fact that, look, yes, music is therapeutic, but all music is not therapeutic. You have to listen. Like some of that shit is not good. I'm sorry. So yes, if I am having a bad day and I want to go listen to some gospel music, probably lift my spirits, or some jazz or some reggae, yeah, that's lifting my spirit. But me going to listen to something about killing and murder and popping pussy or pills or drugs, that's not healthy. I don't care who you are. If that's what you're going to listen to when you're upset or in a mood, bro, you need to go get therapy. That's what we need to be teaching our black children. Nothing else. It's not acceptable. That's not okay. And that's the problem that people are saying it's okay or need to be restrictions. Look, we cannot teach. Look, I can teach my child whatever. And this is why I tell my baby mama when she argued with that, oh, I get him more than you. First of all, he's in school. How much of the day? At least 8 to 10 hours a day he's at somebody else's house or in somebody else's care. So at that point, he's getting exposed to so much things that I can't even stop. From TV, from listening to people's demeanors out in public with them. I can't control that. So it's only my option to then, hey, try to alter or try to jump in and intervene as a parent to, okay, boom, I'm seeing picking up this is right, this is wrong. No, you shouldn't be listening to that music. It's not good for you. No, 2 men shouldn't be kissing when I see Little Nas X on TV. No, when my son say ill, yes, it is ill, but you should not disrespect them. I'm sorry, it's only 4% of people who got, look up political science. It's a thing, it's a tactic, bro. It's a tactic, my bad. It's a tactic about political science. It's called making a minority majority. That's why they have things called jerry-rigging. I'm trying not to go off, but I hope y'all kind of get my drift on what I'm saying. This
Bro,
is all
you
a
can
part
go
of an
off all you
agenda.
want, bro, because that's how you feel, and you entitled to how you feel, and I feel how I feel, and you feel like that's BS. But how I feel is that I feel like that you full of it, bro. I feel like you full of it because
okay.
at the end of the day, bro, your kid is gonna turn out however they turn out, and you don't have any control in that shit. Now, one thing you do have control in is your reach. My mom's growing up, she had reached from the crib to school to the other side of town. That means no matter where I go, I know what I should and I shouldn't be doing because my mom instilled that into me. And I grew up listening to every single Wayne album, every single Chief Keef album, all of that shit. But I didn't go and join the game when that was a thing that I could have done easily. That music didn't do that. And if as a parent again, if you are not active in your kid life to show them self-determination, to show them how to mentally separate yourself from whatever the fuck everybody else is doing, your kid is gonna fall victim. And I see that shit and I've experienced that shit my life over and over and over again, bro. I'm a crack baby.
You're a victim
Right now I work
mindset
for
too,
Porsche and I'm living good. But
but
that
you're living
came
off
from
a
me
victim
having to be
mindset.
able to separate that.
It's a victim mindset, dog. I grew up in the hood too, man. That's not like get over that hump of your life. Being in the hood don't mean shit. Growing up in the hood don't validate anything.
Yeah, that shit don't mean shit, but what the who said it did?
The
You
fact that
feel
you're
me?
using it in an argument is like, dude, that doesn't mean that isn't even legit, bro. What I'm saying is
No,
I'm just
I say
explaining
that
to
to
you
say
how the
because I don't
brain
know how
works.
your hood was, but my hood, I didn't have to hear about crackheads in music. I saw them. I didn't have to worry about hearing about drug dealing in music because I saw them. I knew them. That didn't mean shit.
It's not
That's what I'm
healthy, and
saying.
it
And to
does
another
mean
person who
something.
might not have grown up in that, and you like, oh, this is this and this is that. If you didn't grow up, you personally experiencing that, you can't speak on another person. So if another person is using their platform to say, hey, this is what I lived through, this is what I experienced, that's connecting with somebody. If that's not your cup of tea, that's cool.
No, but what I'm saying is the cup of tea is some tea without no goddamn sugar in it. And I'm sorry, it's not good. It's bland because what you're trying to say is basically at the end of the day that, hey, because I didn't get influenced by music and I just broke down how the left and the right side of the brain works, how we all can agree that if you're a parent, that you are molding your child for the real world. You're raising them to be able to survive if you were to leave this world. That's your whole job at the end of the day. So I'm sorry, music, what they see, everything that they're doing from the ages of, especially from 0 to 7, but from 0 to 16 before they truly get out of your hands, it is your job to do everything in your power to instill in them, as you just said, to mold them. That reach that you're talking about, but at the end of the day, yes, they are going to turn out however, because of, hey, society, peer pressure, whatever they may believe or whatever they may have gotten. But anything outside of that, what we're talking about right now is what is the long-term impact of it and how it's affecting our youth. We cannot let them just sit around and listen to it because at the end of the day, yeah, you might have had strong parents to teach you that way. But what we do understand is there's a lot of women have their children out of wedlock. There's a lot of women raising their children alone. That's already a negative. Then we already got people not under. We don't have a lot of smart people. Most people that's living in poverty don't understand that poverty is not a way of life. Just because you live on a block, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. Just because you live on a block and saw crackheads and lived that life and saw it and thought, no, that wasn't good. That's toxic. That's why I was glad when I joined the army and I got therapy to understand that the shit that I was living and breathing and seeing, it might not impact me to be that, but it has altered my life in some form that is not healthy, whether it's in my relationship or it shows other places. And that's one thing I learned about therapy. Just because it didn't impact you in the way that you thought, it always impacts you. And until you get out here and you start getting real with yourself and diving deep, growing up in the hood, listening to rap music, seeing all that shit is not normal. And no kid should go through that. Because I was a kid that went through it. But guess what? My mom was I was a crack baby. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing good to throw out. That's not good. I had to learn that. I had to get that out of my fucking vocabulary. I had to stop using it because I had to understand me being a crack baby from Cincinnati, Ohio, nobody gives a fuck. So my mindset had to grow. That's how I became successful. So that's all I'm saying, bro. I ain't mean to come at you like that, but I'm just sorry. Like, that's not an argument that black men got to get that out of there. For our youth to teach them that, no, it is not okay. My child should never listen to Moneybagg Yo at any instance. Nothing that Moneybagg Yo is good for my child. Or Little Nas. Nothing they have to say.
I wanna jump in here if it's cool, brothers. Um, I feel like just hearing what you both have to say, I feel like there's a part where it's like y'all saying the same things. Essentially, it's just more so a different approach to it. Because on one hand, Payne, I'm with you as far as like, hey, we can't even let we can't let kids listen to this at all because we understand the ramifications and the damage that it could have and the long-term negative effects to this type of programming. But Javon, I also hear what you're saying as far as like, hey, growing up, my mama had reach, and it was like you knew better. But at the end of the day, kids are going to get into whatever they want to get into, and it's really on us to set the parameters to be able to educate and say, hey, this is right, this is wrong, all this and all that. Javon, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's not necessarily like, hey, let them do whatever they want. But it's more so like, no, I'm still going to teach, my kids right from wrong. But at the end of the day, they are individuals and they're going to do whatever they want to do. And I've seen that with, you know, some of my cousins who, grew up Christian home and Catholic school and all that good stuff. But behind closed doors, they were rebellious. They were doing things, trying to hide from the family as far as what they were doing. And then it got to a point where they were just like, you know what, I'm here. And then it was a huge shock to everybody because it was like, wow, where's this behavior coming from? Hey, what happened here? What happened there? And it's like at the end of the day, if kids want to get into trouble, if they want to go and find certain things, they're going to find it because of how accessible it is now, right? So it's on us to really make sure that we're coming in and truly standing our ground and letting them know, like, hey, here are the ramifications of what you're listening to, right? And being able to show that. And sometimes, Javon, like you said, you don't even have to hear it. Like, especially if you're growing up in the hood, you're seeing that firsthand. And a lot of times, that's what a lot of these people are rapping about. But we really have to make sure that we are solid in our messaging as far as, hey, there are long-term effects, and trying to shield kids as much as possible from it. But one thing I want to ask, Darcy, I know you moderating, but one thing I want to ask is, what's the real solution, right? Because I feel like this isn't the first time this topic has come up. So when we're talking about the long-term impact of rap, how do we then find a solution to start changing that narrative, right? What does that look like? Is that we're starting to own our own things and 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 taking control of the music that way? What does that look like? Because that's going to be the next step to figuring this
But
out.
bro, people have done that, but they're not making it. That's what I think. That's what we try all saying is that. That's why I said that I don't believe that there is no more long term effect. The effect has already happened. That's why I'm saying there is no solution. What has happened has happened. We now have to really figure out a plan to adjust it to this lifestyle. And for me, it's going back to understanding. Do y'all remember in the '90s when they had like condom commercials or women product hygiene commercials? They usually showed when they would make them show after 9 o'clock. I forget what they was called, but I think it was Reagan or somebody in the '90s. They had it. So basically, certain things were put out after the 90. I mean, after 9 p.m. so that hey, most kids went to bed at that time. They did that for a reason. Even when you look at video games, there's a rating. When you look at movies, there's a rating. And when you buy anything, there's a product, there's a rating for all children. It's like the whole world is operating off of protecting children. But it seems like in the black community, we're laxing off of, hey, remember, the thing that you do can possibly affect children. So y'all kind of get what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy that everybody else in the world is putting labels and even with like medicine, don't get a children under 2, even though it's an adult medicine that you can pick up and clearly see this is for an adult, they still put it. You go to a Six Flags or something, they got height requirements on there. Like they're protecting our youth, but it's like the black community don't give a fuck.
I mean, bro, again, it's everybody's. Y'all making it a bigger. You guys are too broad for that shit. You have to understand it again. It goes just on a basic level of having reach. If you don't have reach in your household, you don't have shit. If your kid doesn't know that you gonna whoop their ass if they rob a fucking bank, then that you did that shit, bro. You did that shit. If you created trauma in your kid life where that motherfucker felt like they gotta go be a rapist, sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's their fault. But at the end of the day, that isn't gonna be literally they listen to fucking Lil Wayne for 10 years and now they finna go rape a bitch. That's not how that shit work, bro. Like, y'all, you taking this shit and you running with it. Like y'all, like you thinking too much into it,
Hey,
bro.
where have you like, bro? I'm not trying to be funny, but like, what have you done? Have you always been in like where you from? Like, I'm not even trying to be. I'm trying to get some background context on how you're saying this.
I'm from Chicago.
Have you ever lived outside of Chicago in any other city for longer than 6 months?
Yes, bro.
Okay,
When I
so
moved,
when you have done that or lived in any other country for more than 6 months, and you see that, hey, other countries. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be honest with you. All other countries outside of America does not allow hip hop music. You see some places in Korea doing it, but there's a restriction, and the places that Korea are doing it is military ran. Most likely, that's the culture that's around there. Outside of that, that hip hop crap is not rolling. Not in Germany, nowhere. They're not listening to it because it's derogatory. It's for a reason, bro. That's why I'm saying, like, I get you. Like, you made it out. Most people do, but most people that make it out still have a fucked up mindset. Whether they become in a gang or not, they still are off, bro. The people from the hood, and I'm from the hood. I got locked up at 15. It was in and out the system. It was homeless. I just thank God that I went to the military and learned some decent civilization skills that I did not receive in my community, that I did not receive in the hood. Because yes, I thought that people like Kevin Gates at the time, Meek Mills was life. But then when I looked at them, they started going to jail. And then you look at them now as an adult and you see that they had to reform and change their whole mindset to where people like Kanye don't want to rap negative shit no more. Meek Mill that started a whole reform. People are getting mad at Future for talking about doing lean and shit, and he don't really do it in real life because he's talked about the health impact of it. Come on, bro, you can't say that. Like, what?
You know, I'll say this, right? We got to realize, so Jovan, I feel like, you're speaking from the standpoint of your perspective of one, your experience coming up, and also from your experience of being a father. But I have to agree with what Darius is really saying here because this is the biggest thing with thinking about the long term implications of what we're allowing in our present. There's a reason why other cultures and other nationalities look at us and they shake their heads when it comes to our music and what we allow these kids to listen to and consume coming up. I mean, look at my father. My father was born in Haiti, came here when he was 16 with nothing. Still made it through the education system, got his associate's degree at a time where that was something that was viable out here in the market, became a teacher and retired as a teacher. So could you blame someone who comes here, doesn't know how to speak the language, doesn't have the resources, has 10 other hoops to jump through and can still go out here and make something out of nothing? And yet a lot of us, we want to be privileged. We expect special treatment in the household. We still blame the system for our demise rather than holding ourselves accountable and saying, okay, one, have we moved with care in our lives? Have we moved with care in our teachings? Like, if you're a parent, right, you can have the mindset, and I see this all the time. You can have the mindset that, oh, my kid is going to turn out however they're going to turn out at the end of the day. So all I can do is just tell them this and tell them that, and they're going to make their own decisions and et cetera. Yeah, I get that. Your kid is always going to make their own decisions as they get to a certain point, right? But that doesn't mean you don't pride yourself on going the extra mile to make sure that you understand that you are responsible for your kids' development and what they consume from their youth. And you have to understand the actual impact of what they take from their experiences as a youth and what they project out in this world, right? If you're exposed to a certain level of trauma, unless you have some kind of teachers or somebody who comes to you and shows you another way, 9 times out of 10, you will go out in society and do that same exact trauma that was dished out to you. If you grow up in the environment, and I look at this all the time, right? I look at rappers like King Von. I look at a lot of these drill rappers who, if you look at the history, most of their family members were already in that lifestyle and they grew up into it, right? And when you ask them, okay, how did they end up like that? What do they say? I was born into it. I didn't have a choice. Oh, if somebody go drill my cousin, my aunts, my uncle, they gonna come grab me and say, we gotta go get back. So my thing is, at the end of the day, we cannot act like our environment and our family situations don't have a heavy influence on what we grow up to become. And my thing is, if you don't take power over that, if you don't take control over that and understand you are responsible for your kid, and if they go out into society and they go out and go and kill 10 people, if you don't realize you contributed to that, then that's a problem. And that's the thing. People fail when it comes to accountability for their kids. The same way you're gonna be proud of your kid and brag on your kid if your kid goes out here and becomes the next president is the same way you should be speaking on if you didn't raise your kids well, if they went out here and killed 10 people. You're not gonna be vocal about that if they killed 10 people as you would be as if you would say you were a great parent if they went out here and they did great things, right? You would say that you did great, you had great parenting skills, that you taught them well, you taught them hard work, you taught them everything that they needed for them to go out here and be successful. Why can we claim these things when it's good, but when our kids go out here and bring destruction into society, everybody wants to point the finger at something else? It's the system. It's this. No, you did not hold yourself accountable to raise your kid to the best of your abilities. Or maybe you did and it wasn't good enough and you didn't go out and seek additional resources to help you prepare your kid to be successful in life. My understanding of my teachers did not come from my parents. Not taking away anything from them, they did what they could. But I looked at my environment, I looked at what I felt was wrong, and I made sure that I did not want to dish out whatever I felt. I prided myself on that. And honestly, I feel like that comes from God. There's no real world example of a person that I can point to and say, oh, this person did this and taught me that. But I will tell you, I looked at my father and the example that he set and how detailed he was with me. My father did not let me just go and do anything that I wanted to do. My father had me practicing my ABCs. My father had me reading even when I didn't want to read. My father wouldn't let me play until I did what I had to do. And that taught me discipline. That taught me structure as a man. And that taught me respect as well. These are things that I had to learn through example. But if I did not have my father around to set that tone, and if he did not pride himself on going the extra mile and understanding like, hey, yeah, your kid is growing up in the projects, but if you teach him right and you educate him right and you hold yourself accountable to showing him more, that he will grow into that. So you have to pride yourself on that. So you have to be careful about what you feed into yourself, right? Because subconsciously, you'll get lazy in your parenting because you'll feel like, oh, okay, well, my kid's going to go out here and do this, and this regardless. So I don't need to go the extra mile to do this, or I don't need to go the extra mile to teach my kid this. And I'm not saying you personally, bro, but I'm saying this is the overall tone of why these kids are getting worse. They don't have character. These kids are out here robbing the elderly and everything, killing the elderly. This wasn't stuff that was being done before. It's at another extreme now. People killing easily over a damn parking spot. $5 in gas, nothing. People don't fight nowadays. You pulling out a gun and shooting. If you can't look at that and say that bad parenting and not having accountability on that end, if you can't say that there's some impact from that, then I don't know what to tell you. And I'm not saying you, but that's for anyone. Because there are plenty of good examples of what good parenting can do for a kid and what bad parenting can do for a kid. If you can grow up in this world and have a brain disorder because your parent was out here doing drugs or whatever, different shit, that's not your fault, right? But if no one ever points to you and let you know that that's wrong and that shouldn't be like that, and that you have the power to make sure that doesn't happen, then you may go out here and allow the same thing with your kid. So it's all about breaking the generational trends and chains that we've normalized in society. We have to break them. And again, it involves going through a little pain. It involves going through a little honesty with ourselves, and it involves an extra level of accountability that we're not normally subject to. But if we want better, if we say we want to be better, then we need to do better. We can't just talk about it. And again, that accountability is so crucial. So crucial.
I mean, yeah, Darcy. I mean, that's those are facts. But I will say this: I think we're honing in on parenting, and I mean, and you're right. Look, there's got to be a level of accountability, and you know, you got to look at how your parenting plays a role in, how your kids come out. But at the end of the day, they're individuals. I've seen too many examples, great parents, essentially. I shouldn't say all the right things, but, majority of things that they did was right, and the kids still went a whole different way. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to be very careful with how we approach the whole parenting thing, because there are parents that are out here struggling because they're like, hey, I did everything right, but my kids still turn out this way.
No, they didn't do everything right, bro. My bad
They
to cut
didn't,
you off.
bro. They didn't,
That's why
bro.
that's why I was trying to say.
No, you're right.
People
You're right.
think that they think that they're doing shit right. My
Mm-hmm.
grandma used to teach me this, and God rest her soul. She said, people say practice make perfect, and my grandma was like, no, perfect practice make perfect. You talk about how Darcy talked about how his grandfather or his dad was like that. I'm like that on my son. But you know who that was for me? That was my grandmother. We had to read those books, those Goosebumps books and shit, and write reports and write it in good cursive, write it in good legible writing. And if you didn't, she ripped it up and threw it away before you can go outside and play. You had to do it correctly. So perfect practice makes perfect. We have to teach our children they're not doing it right. You're having children out of wedlock. You're not putting a man in the household. You're not writing your own damn spirit. You're fighting your traumas and then pushing. That's why generational curse is coming. That's not right, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like this shit of living in poverty, going up in the ghetto is for a reason. That shit is not normal. It's coming from the reason why the ghetto is there is because these motherfuckers are there because they have piss poor management skills or mindsets, and nobody wants to go down there and tell them. Stop having fucking babies. Stop thinking that Nicki Minaj or Cardi B, these people that's out here rapping one thing to y'all, but doing something completely different. You don't see how much of a joke that is? Matter of fact, what they called it back in the day in medieval times was justice. You were paid to make us fucking laugh. And if you didn't, we took your head. That's why I said people like Will Smith don't make it, because guess what? You not making us laugh enough. You talking about good shit. Get off the mic. You can rap without cursing. They even got this whole thing right now with Boosie and Lil Duval where they both had a track where Boosie didn't curse and they calling it out. Bro, this shit has to stop, bro. It has to, man. We have to take it serious because, yes, we're coming from a parenting point of view, because guess who's raising these children? Our parents. Not the people that don't have kids, not the LGBT community, not the church. It's the parents. Not the government. It's the parents. No matter how much help you're doing it, those kids are in those households. So I like, bro, Darcy, I love this room because I think like this type of content needs to get heard, and it's sad that we can go in a room where we can bash or support the LGBT community, or we can bash women or bash men, but we talk about something about youth, where y'all just heard me go on a rant where I just showed y'all there's multiple different ways of not only the government but society has put safeguards on our children. Not even just America, but the world, period. And yet we're in here having an argument about hip hop, which if you can name me one song that is positive in today's hip hop or R&B or have a positive message, I'll give you that argument.
Bro,
But
Lil Baby was just on a Space Jam album, bro, with Kurt Franklin, and that shit went crazy. And I let my son listen to that shit every day. I
oh
ain't
yeah,
gonna
that's
lie
a
to
good
you.
song. Yes, I'll let him listen
You
to that.
said
But
give you one. I just gave you one. There you
bro,
go.
that's Kurt Franklin. You're talking about the biggest hip hop gospel artist there is, bro.
But
We're
Lil
talking
Baby
about
was
Little
in there
Baby by
too.
himself. Look, Kurt Franklin went him let him get on his album cursing or doing that like that. Come on, man.
You ever heard people up in the church talking about they done led them to the pulpit? Lil Baby led them to the pulpit.
Nah, Lil Baby ain't lead them to no pulpit. Like I
I'm
like
trying
the
to
song.
tell you, them kids listen
Bro,
to that Kurt
Jovan, bro,
Franklin
you not
song because
serious,
Lil
bro.
Baby
Come
was
on,
on
bro.
that mother.
Come on,
I'm
bro.
trying to tell you, that nigga done led them to the pulpit on that one,
Bro,
and I listen to
bro,
that shit right along with my son.
bro.
And I let him understand that that's just a small part of his life. If he listens to whatever for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, the same way that you said that your grandmother used to be on you, I work from home. My fiance works from home. But every day, even when my kid is with me, especially over the summer, I made sure that we spelt together, we read together, we did math together, and I had experiences with him outside of just working on notebooks and stuff. We take hikes, we go see the freaking falls in Georgia, we go do other things like that too, where that music isn't a part of his life, and that's the only reason why I'm fighting as hard as I am, because music has always been that for me and my son's relationship is the way it is also because of music too. But again, it's censoring what they listen to. So I do agree with y'all, and I have been busting y'all ass. You feel me, over the details, and I've been specific and shit like that. But I do altogether, I do still agree with y'all that you do have to censor what your kid listens to, and again, just be strict about them knowing the difference between the storytelling and this music and real life.
And I think I tell my child that, and like my son is just turning 5, and he turns 5 like, well, he's 5 now. It's September 14th. So I try to tell him like he's watching YouTube and stuff all day. Like even though I be doing stuff with him, but like I know when I be bored down or we're at the house just chilling, like 'cause I'm retired. His mom's retired military. We both retired in our 20s. So he got a blessed life. And I have to tell him like, hey dog, like just remember that's YouTube. And sometimes I be hearing stuff because I've been in my house and I've heard people cursing on a YouTube channel that's supposed to be all for kids. And you know how that autoplay be on? And so all of a sudden I'm hearing this kid cursing, and then my son is talking about, yeah, daddy shit. And I was like, but why are you cussing? He said, but daddy, this is what he's saying, and he's getting mad at me. And I'm like, but dude, you're sitting right here talking to your daddy using a curse word like it's nothing. But then when I'm hearing it on a YouTube channel, I'm like, this is why these are the words. Shit and butt and ass are allowed to be on YouTube on kids' channels. And it's like, whoa. So now you got my kid cursing at me. If I was a parent that wasn't all the way right, or understanding that my child is only 4 or 5, that child might get bent. Like, cause I'm telling you, if you 13 come to my house like that, we about to box, boy. What? So we like sometimes what we're saying is like we can watch them in the house and I can do what I can, but once that child gets to first, second, third, fourth grade, especially middle school and above, when puberty hits, or when they start getting in ninth grade and they up there and they at the lunch table with seniors that's about to be damn near grown and they getting exposed to that, like it's a lot, bro. We can't control all of that. So, I mean, yeah, we can teach them, but we still got a lot to factor in that the world is a big influence on our children, regardless of how we feel about it. That's why black men like me care so much. I want to argue so much with the communities or the people that's trying to say that we're wrong. It's like, no, this is not good for us. I don't care what nobody says. Hip
Mm-hmm.
hop, R&B, all that stuff that's over sexualized in our.
Man, y'all, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, bro. I was gonna say I gotta call it a night. It's been a pleasure, boys.
Yes,
I see
sir,
y'all
bro.
again. Y'all
Appreciate
hope
you
y'all have a
tapping
good
in.
night.
I appreciate you.
All right, it's off.
All right, all
Yep.
right. Right, I was trying to hold my thought. But yeah,
Uh,
I mean, I feel it is that's we just have to teach it, man. And I know if he was trolling just to get the combo, like I like it. But at the same time, there's a lot of people that think like that or will fight you like that, and it's just like that mindset is not right. And if anybody try to solidify that mindset, I really look at them like, look, I was there at once, but you need to go get therapy.
I personally, I don't think he was really trolling like that. I think a lot of it was really his truth that he was speaking on. But the bottom line is this: when we talking about the long term impact of rap, there is no debating that it has a negative effect on the youth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There should be no debate. Quite honestly, Darcy, as great as the topic is, the conversation should have been 2 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because I mean, and these are facts. I mean, we've mentioned things like the subconscious mind, but like that's how this world works, right? That's what they do. I'm thinking about wasn't it like the Cardi B's of the world and the Nicki Minaj's and stuff like that, and talking about they got this, wet ass pussy and all this stuff. And imagine these young girls that are listening to that growing up on like and they're repeating that they're like, yep, that's what I got, yep, this is what it is. And it's like they're not even being taught how to truly respect themselves, right? They're not being taught. That's why we had these kids out of wedlock. That's why all these different things happen. Then we look back like, oh my gosh, like why is our black community still in shambles? Well, it's because of nonsense like that, right? If you're sitting here and that's what you're projecting and that's what people are consuming, at a certain point is going to have an effect on you, right? I mean, you broke down how the mind works. They know how it works. That's why a lot of rappers like the Eminems of the world have talked about how a lot of these lyrics get dumbed down. Why? Because they understand the art of repetition. They understand the art of a good beat. They know that that's all people are going to listen to. So when you can start slipping in subliminals and things that people just keep repeating to the point that they embody it, that's how it works, and it's damaging. So this is no debate. If anything, it should be a how do we come together and essentially cut the head of the monster, right? I know Jay Z trying to do it with this whole title thing, and I think Diddy was trying to do something as well. But I think that a lot of time ego is our biggest downfall. We got to have guys that are coming together and like, look, we got to take control of our communities and the messaging that's out there, and we got to come together as a collective to get that done. Because if not, so that's my take on it.
Hey, bro, and I mean, I said, bro, you speaking facts, bro. It's crazy out here, bro, that the movement isn't big enough, bro. There are certain things out here that's clear as day in front of us that's causing detriment to our community, bro. And because people are making money off of it, because it's popular, no one says anything. Like, it's really crazy that we're glorifying killers that's in the studio. As long as they in the studio, they good to go. If you a regular killer out here, nah, lock his ass up. But if you a killer in the studio and you know how to rap and you got a good sound to you, oh, okay, no. We gonna listen to him. Let's keep him around. We gonna defend him. We gonna protect him. We can't cancel him. And mind you, there's a family out there that's probably mourning because of him. And it doesn't, it's not a problem until it hits home for you. Until that person is somebody that killed one of your family members or hurt somebody in your family and changed their life. So it's insane out here, bro. It's insane. And this is what our young men have to be subjected to. If they want to enter the rap game, this is the pressure that they feel. And it's bad enough that our youth are limited to 3 options. Well, they're told they're limited to 3 options coming up, which is to rap, to play sports, or to sell drugs. You a lame if you go to school. You a lame if you want to work a job and get a salary. You want to have a career. You a lame for that. Nah, the real money, the fast money is if you on the streets, if you getting this paper, and it don't matter how you getting it, you could be scamming, whatever. This is what our youth are taught. And what you'll find now is a lot of these, look, we don't even have the same OGs that you used to have. OGs used to try to teach, or at least some, used to try to teach the youth to be better than them. Most OGs now, they got the youth carrying their guns for them because they know that it's a kid. He not going to get real time if he get caught with a firearm on him. So it's sick out here. It's every little thing that we're normalizing. Down to the music, down to what our women like. It's sad. It's sick. And until we start speaking up on it, until we start saying, no, this is wrong and this is right, and doing away with what's wrong, we're going to keep going down a deadly pathway. And it's only going to get worse because these kids don't have character. They're not raised with morals, and they're preconditioned to exchange their lifespan for a fucking dollar.
Yeah, and I think that's really where the result is like when they ask solutions, it's right there. It's like we got to teach our children morals and values. I always tell people there's a difference between being a parent and being a mother. There's a big difference. Anybody can be a mother. You can be a mother at 16. But to be a fucking parent, man, you have to put in the work. Not just on your kids, but on yourself and on your life. Because raising a child, there's not a financial strain. It's a mental strain, physical strain. It's everything. It's work. So when parents are speaking up and And that's what I want to, like, people who might listen to this, like, when parents are speaking, they're trying to tell y'all, like, y'all are actually kind of productive on what we're trying to teach our children, or people with children that's trying to raise them. The shit that y'all are doing, that people that don't have children or don't understand this concept, y'all are counterproductive, and y'all actually hurting our children.
Bro, this is a fact, bro. Hey, man, I appreciate you brothers tapping in. We just touched the hour mark. Man, and it's so crazy because, like I said, we definitely went off topic a little bit, but to me, honestly, no, we didn't, because everything that was discussed today mattered. And it has a direct impact on the topic as a whole. What are the long-term implications of the music and what we are normalizing in society? We have to continuously ask ourselves these questions and challenge the things that are causing our detriment, that are causing our demise. We cannot continue to normalize these things that are causing destruction in our community. It's important for our young black men to have a healthy identity for black men that they can turn to, that does not involve them exchanging their life for a dollar. We need healthy identities for black men. Black educated men going to school and getting careers. Black men starting families and good households, and women being there to support them and play a feminine role, and a man being a masculine role. I see too many households where our young black men are being emasculated. Our women are not taught to value themselves and value their bodies, and that it's okay to sell themselves. We're moving away from morals. We're moving away from key values that are essential to human life. We have to stop. And the only way we can do that is to start having the conversations that we're having now, and to speak on these things and to let our youth know that it's not okay. Yes, this is our reality now, but this is not right. We may not be the ones to fix it, right? Like Tupac said, we may not be the ones to fix it, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about it. So thank you for listening to this episode. Thank you to these brothers for tapping in. They definitely will be back, and we'll be back with some more content and talking about more controversial issues that our culture has to deal with, that our youth, that our young black men, our young black women are being subjected to, that are causing destruction in our communities and our households. Thank you for tapping in with the Motivational Tapping Podcast. Thank you.